If you don't understand something, if you don't like it, it's fine to say you don't like it. You don't have to pretend to be like, yeah, I don't understand what the filmmaker is doing, but I'm sure it's subversive. If I shut in a cup, for an hour and a half, somebody would give it a 5-star review and be like, it's subversive. Yes, I don't like what he did, but it's a metaphor for how he feels about the state of Pakistani politics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Letterboxd 250 podcast. I am your host, Kyle. As usual, I am joined by...
You know me, Mr. Muscles Worldwide. Sharik.
Simon.
Why the pause? Why the pregnant pause?
He was so happy as well, and then when he said Simon, he seemed so down. On that topic, how are you feeling, Simon? Are you down?
I'm doing great. Finished One Division this morning. I like the show overall.
Loved it. Loved that.
Yeah. What did you think of it, Sharik? Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I really enjoyed it overall. I see why some people wouldn't, but like I personally, I loved it.
I loved it. It had a couple problems. Not going to mention any names, but a certain erectile joke just didn't work for me. Kind of killed my boner, but yeah, it was good overall. As you can tell, I'm a Marvel fan. I don't know why they put those out before. It adds a bit of energy to the room. But
as you can tell, I read. I'm a scholar. You know.
You know what? I haven't asked you to. How have you found the lockdown? I know it's like
topical.
Yeah,
topical.
I just was thinking about how One Division and like entertainment as a whole has really helped people get through like the lockdowns. So how have you found it?
If I may speak for both myself and Simon here, a lot of people said it was a pandemic, but Simon knows it's a pandemic. Let's go. Get your bread up. You gotta invest. Listen, right? Why are you starving? You've only got £5 in your account. You're an idiot. Take that £5, invest it in Bitcoin. There you go. That's 5,000.
And GameStop. Ruin your life. Ruin your savings. At least you had fun.
You know what I mean?
But on a real note, how have you found it? Have you found entertainment that's helped you get through it, or?
Okay, in all seriousness, right? With lockdown, I think it's a weird thing now especially because it's like the fourth or fifth lockdown.
For us, it feels like it's the fourth.
God.
You can't even tell because it had so many soft lockdowns and stuff. You know what I mean? And they keep starting and stopping. Entertainment has, same as anything. Entertainment's always been, there to help you and stuff, and it's been helping us throughout. Yeah, it helps. I've liked having. I think with One Division, I've liked having something to look forward to in the week, and it helps center the weeks a lot more as well. Where in the beginning of the lockdown, when it first happened last March, I was watching a lot of stuff, but I found myself going back to I found myself mixing in like new stuff, but a lot of comfort stuff as well. So I'll go back to a show I love, like New Girl, and I watched a bunch of seasons of that again. That was gang gang. But New Girl's obviously a great show, and like stuff like Avatar. I rewatched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Show I love. A lot of stuff I watched when I was younger as well. I went back to I found myself sometimes just sitting and watching episodes of like Power Rangers and things because it just brought you back to a time almost. Spectacular Spider-Man, like lots of different shows that I love, shows that are good. But I also watched like a lot. I also took it as a time so I could I read a bunch. Not as much as I should have, honestly.
Sorry.
Yeah, not as much as I should have. But and then I got the PS5 now as well, and I've been I will.
Okay, look at this guy. Wow.
No,
but
not
the lottery.
I didn't win it, but but honestly, I never had a game console. No, not like that. This is like the first sort of game console that's mine, and because this is what I have, and I will say I love it because I love coming home and having like a little routine. It sounds dumb. I've been playing a lot of like NBA 2K, and I'll be like, I'm so invested in it. I'm in the championship. I'm at second season now. After some trade negotiations went bad, I won the Houston Rockets, but I won a championship ring. That was so impressive and great. You know, I think it was set here. Yeah, right there. You see that? Can we make sure we get? Can we make sure we get all the jewels? Is it sparkling enough on the camera, Kyle? Sparkling enough on the. Simon, how's it looking?
Let me put the test on it. Wait 1 second. Beep.
You heard a Green Lantern. Yeah, I'm the Green Lantern, baby. That was terrible. That was a terrible
That was
joke.
garbage.
That's terrible. But Simon, how are you? How's the treating you?
How's lockdown been for you, Simon?
Not as eventful as his one, but I've also been watching lots of films. Ironically, not as much as I watched like a couple of years back when I clocked like 500 in 1 year. But for some reason, I can't even get past. Yeah. Like,
PS5, 500 films.
Who's the real film buff here?
Human Contact, 500 films a year.
Yeah. So I've just been going through shows. In fact, I found it hard to binge shows. I mean, films. I've been going through. So, yeah, that's it for me. I'm just doing lots of schoolwork as well.
Yeah, you with university work and stuff. I was gonna say, obviously, I'm watching The Office now, but like, if you remember, I know it sounds like, oh, you know, that's what I've been doing because of the sense of the podcast. I only started that in February. I'm on the last season now, so it's like we'll talk about that more later. But like, you know, so.
Well, I wanted to elaborate on something you were saying about you were going back to comfort watches. Like the first lockdown, part of me was like, take away all the tragic like circumstances around it. Part of me was like, I'm looking forward to being at home for a while, and I thought I'm gonna watch so much. Like, yeah, it sounds so bad, but like,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But I didn't watch anything like compared to I think it was 2019 where I watched 200 plus films. Sorry, it's not 500, Simon, but it was.
Yeah, you'll get there one day.
But considering how much time I had, I watched under 100 because I didn't have the motivation to watch anything. And part of me was like, do I want to watch something and end up not liking it? So I did go back to a lot of comfort watches. Like I rewatched Doctor Who for the first time in a while. We have a question for Mr. Cherry.
I also rewatched some Doctor Who. Doctor Who is great. But in this, my question was, because you like me, you've got the cinema card. We go cinema quite a lot, and I know you do as well, Simon.
No, don't even try.
No, you got cinema a lot, Simon. You know, there's no point.
Oh, I thought you meant the cinema card. My bad.
No, you got cinema. You got cinema.
Excuse me.
Do you guys find that? Because I don't know how many. You know, there's so many films I watched that year. I don't even know what they are in the numbers, but like because of the cinema card, like 2018, 2019, and even the beginning of 2020 before the lockdown, I was going to cinema. You know, at least once a week. Right, and even then, if I go 1 3, I might watch like 2 3 films. Like, you know what I mean? I like dedicate a day to it, which I loved, and like I found with the cinema when you're there, you have a lot more motivation to sit and like watch it. And then while you're at home, do you guys have this feeling when you're put on a film, you're like, I have to watch, whatever the classic film is, insert film here, and you'll just find yourself pausing it or like looking at the ceiling or being on your. With the lockdown, I found it harder to concentrate on things. Like in that, so I had to regain my focus. I'm still trying to get it back.
I'm the same as you. Look. Back to the comfort watches thing, a lot of films I've been watching recently are very light films, like rom-coms and like stuff that doesn't need much for. Because like we won't give our thoughts on the film yet. I had to watch Heat for a couple episodes time, and I was like 2:45. 2 hours 45? Am I gonna struggle watching this at home? Because in the cinema, it's got all your attention. Like there's no distraction from the outside world.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're at home, there's family stuff. They're like, I've got a dog. Like he needs attention. Your phone's actually right next to you the whole time.
So what about the
like,
bitches, man?
There could be like one boring scene in a great film, and once that scene happens, if you look at your phone, you can be like taken completely out of it, and it never regains momentum. So, if
I had watched something like, I'm not gonna say how I thought about this film yet, but if something like La Belle Nourrisson, or every episode I mispronounce it. I watched like Le Belle Nourrisson, or a Taste of Cherry, stuff like Soul and stuff like North by Northwest still kept my attention, because good stuff is just good. Like cream always rises to the top. Good stuff is good stuff, but stuff like Le Belle Nourrisson or the stuff like A Taste of Cherry, if I'd watched it in the cinema, I'm sure I would have paid more attention than I did watching it at home, because I don't like those because I wasn't even inherently interested in those films. Because I don't know about you guys, but my rule with films is I have to be at least 10% interested. All you have to do is get 10% of my interest, and I'm committed. I'll sit and I'll watch this thing, right? And it didn't even have 10%. If didn't have to watch it for this, I would never watch these films.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations. I've watched them. I could say I've watched them, but it's like how Simon watches every film. I didn't really pay attention.
Okay.
I don't want to spend too long on the intro, but to that point, I always think there's certain films I watched in the cinema where I was like, I don't think this would have kept my attention at home, but I still like Ad Astra.
Yeah,
because it's a very slow burn. But when you're in cinema, you're entranced because of the visuals on the big screen as well. I couldn't imagine watching that at home and making it past half an hour.
It's the way as well, which I was really thinking about. Again, not to spoil Heat, we'll talk about that later. But with sound design and stuff, did you guys notice when you're watching Heat, the sound like goes back and forth and stuff, right? All I could think was, imagine if I watched this in cinemas and I could hear it like going. I love that. I love in a film when you watch a film and you can hear like footsteps in the like. You sound like it's in the corner of the cinema. You're like, you're so locked into these things. I just miss the cinema, man. Damn, this is what this episode's about. I just miss the cinema. I'm so excited for. Was it 17th of May?
I think 17th of May or 12th of May. But A Quiet Place 2 has just been announced to move towards May, so they're pretty confident.
Because Fast and Furious, I realized this because Fast and Furious has been moved to June. But even then, what I'm so excited about, you guys think I dawned on me when you said about Quiet Place. They're going to be putting out back to back bangers purely because, like, everything's opening up now, like worldwide, and stuff's coming back, and it's great. And they have to get these films out to make space for the new stuff to be. Listen, what a great time to have a cinema card, isn't it, Kyle?
Yeah, because was it 2020 or 2021 that was lining up to be very good? Like one of those years looked incredible.
Both.
And now thinking about it, because everything's been pushed back, we're going to be getting hits every week.
It was 2020, but then 2021 also had stuff like Batman, Spider-Man, all this other great stuff.
Yeah.
So now it's just like, you want stuff from both years?
Because I think 2020 had a lot of good-looking films, but I think they were more original, like IP, like Tenet. But like 2021 had like 5. Had like 5 Marvel movies. It had like 2 DC films. Like you were getting something every week. But now, once again, I'm not going to like look for the positives in this coronavirus pandemic. But the fact we're going to get all that kind of like squished together, like it's going to be a good year for movie fans.
What I find the most interesting about this is it finally going to be no time, no time to die? Are we finally going to find that time to die?
Oh my god,
Don't scare me. Don't scare
me. It's a topical joke, but it's bad. It's garbage.
I was talking about the James Bond movie. Obviously, what can I say? I can't help myself. I'm such a avid consumer.
The cinema pipeline basically has just been getting stroked and stroked and stroked, and soon it's about to just blow up.
Oh man, like
there's going to be so much traffic outside the cinemas. There's going to be no way home.
Actually,
hemorrhaging, yeah.
What I will say, yeah, Kyle.
Thank you.
That was good. That was good. That was good. I was about to be like, I don't think it'll be that busy. I don't think it'll be that busy. I think here's a cinema, Kyle. Relax.
Should we move on to the film? That was quite a nice, timely chat.
Let's
go back in time to 1967. The film we're talking about today is Entranced Earth. El Dorado, a fictitious country in Latin America, is sparkling with the internal struggle for political power. A jaded journalist opposes 2 equally corrupt political candidates and a pseudo populist. I can't pronounce that word.
Yeah, you're right.
Pseudo. And same thing. So that's what the film's about. Okay. Sharek, do you want to go first? Or
I have a lot to say about this, so maybe I should go last.
Okay.
Yeah. Simon, do you want to go? Or
I don't mind. Okay. So what I like basically, first of all, was that it's stylistic. It's more vibes than sense, if that makes sense.
If that makes vibes.
I like the fact that it was visually raw. Even it's black and white. It didn't have to be black and white for '67. What year did North by West come out?
You
Like
know,
50.
Earlier, that's
Yeah,
50.
and that was colorful as hell. So this was
Yeah.
clearly a stylistic approach. So I like that it was visually raw, narratively compelling. The fact that he goes back in time. Well, it doesn't. Not actually. He doesn't go back in time. He just recounts his memories. So I like that, and it was an effective allegory for the working class plight of
He doesn't
the.
go back in time. He inverts. He reverses the
Okay,
polarity. Yeah.
so it was an effective allegory for the working class plight, subdued by the debauchery, if you will, of the elite, and
Debauchery.
same thing of the elite on both sides of the left-right spectrum in Brazil at the time. So I like that it was very good, yeah.
Um, if
In that
Sharrett's
sense,
got,
in that sense,
if Sharrett's got a lot to say, I'll go
yeah.
next because I don't have anything to say. So
Damn.
this film is clearly about something I have no knowledge about. Like I don't know enough about politics anyway in this current day and age.
Yo,
Let alone
that's alarming, Carl. There's a lot going on. This shit-
let, let alone Brazilian politics in the 60s. So I was already lost there. And I don't know if it's just me or the way the film was put together. The first, like, I couldn't follow anything in the first 10 minutes, and like the dialogue and the visuals gave me nothing. And then it kind of dawned on me after a certain point that this is flashbacks, but it wasn't evident to me. And like, it's weird to say, it lost me at a certain point, and once it loses me, it never got me back.
Which part? Which part?
Probably like 5 minutes in. I'll be honest, I cannot tell you a single thing about this film because I didn't understand it. I didn't find it compelling. I didn't find it visually compelling.
Damn.
But it's clear, like, when the filmmaker made this, he wasn't like, in 60 years, someone's going to be talking about this on a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
someone in Birmingham. Like,
Yeah, he died 5 years later. He was killed.
like, I'm not the target audience for this film. I never, like, thought I would enjoy this film. And I did try, but, like, I'm clearly not knowledgeable enough to connect to, like, the source material, so...
Fair enough.
I'm going to be honest, this was one of the worst movie watching experiences I've ever had. And that's all I'm going to say. Because, Simon, you were very positive on it. Sherrick, where would you fall?
This shit was a 2-pack of ass. This was the worst. This was the worst experience I've ever had watching a film in my whole life. Right? It lost me a minute and a half in. How do you lose someone in your first shot?
What are you focusing?
Someone without focusing, my brain hurts, bro. I've never once watched a film before, and I had to open up the Wikipedia page, and then left more confused by the Wikipedia page to what I was watching. I watched the whole film, right? Watched the whole thing. I never was realizing the first way. It wasn't apparent. The characters made no real fucking sense of what's going on. I love foreign films. I love stylistic choices. Listen, I'm all about weird, bro. You're looking at the guy who loves Tenet. I am Mr. Vibes, bro. You can give me a Vibes film, and I will defend it to the day. This one was ass. I did not get the vibe. It's so terrible. Like, why would you waste time and effort making? Everyone's like, I read about it afterwards, right, to see like, am I missing something? Because sometimes it's okay, you know what I mean? I'm big enough to say I'm missing something. I just didn't get it. You know what I mean? I just didn't get it. And you know what? Nobody got it. I read all the reviews of this film, and everyone's just a cap artist. If you don't understand something, you don't like it, it's fine to say you don't like it. You don't have to pretend to be like, yeah, I don't understand what the filmmaker is doing, but I'm sure it's subversive. If I shut in a cup, for an hour and a half, somebody would give it a 5-star review and be like, it's subversive. Yes, I don't like what he did, but it's a metaphor for how he feels about the state of Pakistani politics. Like, you know what I mean? That's what somebody would say. This shit was ass. Why did Brazil ban it, right? I'll tell you why, because it was ass. Brazil was like, don't show this to anybody. Brazil straight went, right? Brazil saw it, and instead of being like, oh, they're telling us the politics. If I was a politician watching this, I'd be like, ban it because it's ass. I don't care what it says about me. Ban it because that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. I'm trying to think if I've seen a film worse than this. I don't think I have. Avatar's better than this. Avatar, and we know how I feel about Avatar. Avatar, if someone goes, you watch Avatar this, you know what, fam? Put on the extended edition. I don't care. We watch the special extended edition. We can watch a 3-hour cut of Avatar, bro, over this.
Okay, a mixture of both your points. But Simon,
You could have a double feature of Avatar, Fan Four Stick, Le Belle Nuisson, and you know, I didn't really like Taste of Cherry either. It was okay, but like that's not a bad film. I'm trying to think, what's a terrible film? What's the worst film you guys have ever seen?
I don't know.
The Room, but at least The Room's entertaining.
The Room's great. You could put on all of the Human Centipedes as well, right? All
They're
of
not
them,
bad films though.
they're terrible. You can put them on as well, right? And like, you know, I would rather watch all of them. This continuous over this. You can put on Gringo, starring David Anuwadani and what's his and Charlize Theron. And that film was ass. I watched Gringo. What's the worst one I've ever seen in cinema? Pacific Rim Uprising. You can put on Pacific Rim Uprising, yeah. I'd rather watch that. And in that movie, right, his sister dies, and John Boyega just goes, "Yeah, it's hard being handsome." I'm like, your sister just died a frame ago. Like, what's wrong with you? Give me a little bit of emotion, man. I know you're better than this.
Sure, I'll let you rest your vocal cords. But what I was going to bring up was, Simon, you mentioned earlier this was released in '69, whereas North by Northwest
67. Yeah.
Was it 67?
You said it, yeah.
Whereas North by Northwest came out 10 years before. And like I was mentioning...
No excuse. There's no excuse then.
Yeah, no,
North by
exactly.
Northwest came out 10 years ago, right? There's no excuse. In that same time period, because I looked at it on Mubi, Federico Fellini, my fat god, right? That guy released so many bangers, 8.5, the Dolce Vita, the bangers that came out in the 60s, and this is all you can offer? This is it? This third sandwich?
Now, apparently he's got a lot of other bangers before he died. Like, when I watched the video of Scorsese reviewing this, because you know he has that campaign or like initiative where he restores like international films. The way he gassed this film, man, I was so gassed. When I watched it, I was like, what does he see in these films, man?
I need you to know something. I need you to know something. Scorsese, just by relative comparity, right? He was born.
He was born
in like the 50s, right?
Yeah,
Scorsese's old shit. I love you, my old Italian grandfather. I love you, but like Scorsese is like born in the 50s. He must have lost his mind when he saw the first iPhone.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Scorsese would have been like, "What? A computer? But in your pocket? You can make movies on this? Pictures? Talkies? You know what I mean? Shit's insane."
I doubt it, to be honest.
So what I'm saying is, I don't need Scorsese's opinion. The time of this just has. She's sharing Scorsese's opinion. This shit's trash.
But,
garbage.
Yeah. Like I was saying, because I mentioned in the North by Northwest episode that I'm not educated so much on the history of film. So, and I mentioned, you know, he did the crane shot. I was like, I didn't know they were capable of that back then.
That was fire.
So when I watched this, I was like, "Oh, this must have been the first film ever made."
bro, the Lumiere brothers, right? Their first ever film is literally that's. I'm educated in history of film, but they made the first ever film, and their film was literally just a train entering a station, right? And here's the thing, right? That film,
that wasn't a film. It was just a short film as well. No, like 2 minutes.
That film, bro, is so much better than this. This gets nothing from me. Sorry, I'm going ahead. Here's my review for this film, right? You get nothing. You get hate. You get contempt. That's all you get from me in Chance Earth. You get a 0. You don't even get a half a star. Fuck you.
I don't get it, man. Like, how do you hate it so much? Because clearly, if you like that short film that you sent me, the
Simon,
one,
I hate it because it's
like avant-garde. You just don't like this avant-garde, yeah?
No, I love avant-garde. I like when, you know what? My mistake, Kyle. I'm sorry, sorry. My mistake, Simon. I guess I just like good stuff.
Yeah.
sorry for having a taste level. I'm sorry that I haven't fallen into your trap. I'm just rating this film good because people keep sucking his ass. It's terrible. This is the biggest waste of time in my entire life.
What I feel like I should say as well, because given by some of the ratings we've given, considering this is the top 250 list, and most of our reviews, I think it's like a 50-50 betting rate at the moment.
But, yeah, actually, yes.
But we are actually like, I need to feel like I have to mention this, but we are like cinephiles. Like, I'm a moderate cinephile. Like, I will watch stuff outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like your comfort zone's a lot wider than mine.
Me.
But Simon is the broadest. So Simon did get the most out of this film. But
Yeah, I have Scorsese on like speed dial. Me and him speak every day.
I didn't speak to him since the last time he asked me what I thought of One Division. I said, Scorsese, you on One Division? I said, shut up.
He told you to delete his number, bro.
But yeah, if he considers that cinema and not One Division, like
I don't know about him, but yeah, the guy.
If this film was a theme park ride, it'd be the worst theme park ride I've ever been on in my life.
It would be the one at Alton Towers that multiple people have died on.
Yeah. It would be. You know, you got a roller coaster. It's like, shh. It was like that. You're like, is this safe?
And you're never seen again. That's what it would be like. I would give this 0.5 out of 5. It's one of the worst movie watching experiences I've ever had. I tried to look for a positive, and I couldn't. And I wish I could give like a logical, critical explanation, but because I didn't understand what was going on, I can't. Apart from just say I didn't enjoy myself at all.
Would you guys like this? Sorry to cut you off. Would you guys have liked this if you understood the context?
No, I understood the context.
The history.
I understood the context
of that period in time.
Yeah,
during the 60s.
Yeah, I understood all the context. It was just ass.
No, fair enough then. Yeah,
just ass. That's what I'm saying. Because I thought maybe this guy didn't understand it, so I did all the reading and I like read about it. I did all that shit, and it was still terrible.
So yeah, I like the main theme, the blend of Christianity and nationalism, given it corresponded with the time it was based in. But the constant like divergence, where he was recounting what happened before he just got shot up in the car, and it was a dream. With why was that even the point of the symbolism? It made no sense. Like he was dreaming.
Make it clear that he got shot in the car. It wasn't even clear that he got shot in the car. Someone just started shooting.
Yeah, the cuts were bad there. The cuts were just awful. Yeah. So like he was dreaming. He was like Inception, like but shit. Like he was recounting his dreams, like, and then he had other dreams, like hence the trance. But the chronology was just so annoying, and that put me off a lot.
Sometimes there was someone shooting a gun with no sound, and then sometimes there was no gun being shot and there was a sound.
Gunshot sounds.
It's like, as well as like being awfully like written, it's actually a really poorly put together film.
Yeah. On that note, actually, quickly, it would fit perfectly, or better actually, as a play, in my opinion, than as a film.
Yeah, I can see that.
It would have been a way better as a play than a film.
So I think the film could be better, right? If you just take away the dialogue, if you take away the music, and just replace the entire. So what was it? Hour
40, 50, 55, yeah, like 50 minutes
40.
basically.
It's like an hour 50, right? All in all.
Yeah.
And just replace it with a continuous loop of MIA's Paper Planes, because that sounds great. And no matter how
surreal. That's a surreal music video.
And not as and it doesn't matter if you get annoyed at the song, because every time you hear all I want to do is you'll be like, yeah, you'll be back into it. So no matter how terrible the film is, you can just kind of bop along to it for about hour 50. And that's the only thing I can say in this film.
Yeah.
I have like some slight adjustments you can make that could make it actually quite good. I feel like the film, if they took it from the approach of 3 guys from Birmingham called Kyle, Sherrick, and Simon going back in time to prevent this film being made, so it never ends up on the Letterboxd 250 list, I feel like that film has a lot more artistic value than what was made.
We don't watch the film, Kyle.
We are
that film.
Okay. Also, thinking about that, I wonder if Letterboxd should maybe change their what's the word? Qualification process for the top 2.
Grading system, you mean? Oh, okay. So my bad.
No, because looking at the last couple films, with Taste and Cherry and La Belle Noire, I can kind of see what people like in those. No. So, how many people do you know that have watched this film? I'm sure on Letterboxd only
less than 10,000 on the Letterboxd thing. So it wasn't like less than 10,000. Yeah, less than 10,000, but it was because it gets pumped up. The more higher rates it gets, it doesn't matter how many people have watched it. So it qualifies automatically.
So do you think because all the positive reviews came from Brazilian people and stuff that you really
love? Oh damn, yeah, because the reviews, I checked the reviews,
from like
Brazilian, yeah. So it means more to them, probably.
And And
Yeah.
not to be that guy, because we did mention last week this film was my favorite film, but I just checked the Monsters Inc. rating had gone up to a 4.1, which is what the bottom of the 250 list have. So the fact something like a Monsters Inc. I think The Matrix is not in the list, but has 4.1, whereas this.
It is a very I did check through the list. It is very weirdly subjective depending on reviews.
Now,
So
doesn't someone curate the list as well every few often, like 3 weeks?
Someone
Whatever.
does, and they do a great job. I
Yeah.
just think I wonder what the qualification process is, because there is a minimum view.
I noticed from like the top, like just if you look at it from the reverse way, right? All the stuff that's from the top, I think about 50, could be 200, is voted like 4.9, 5. Like the majority is like 5 ratings on the film, and then it will tend to be something like seismic, something like The Godfather, or something like. It's odd that you said The Matrix is in there, but something like The Godfather or Paris, something that's like that appeals to that crowd, because you gotta remember Letterboxd as a whole is very like A24 cinephile crowd. It is run by those guys.
I like how it is curated by the fans. Like, it is a fan.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like for critics mostly. And I like how somehow films like Parasite and Godfather are still at the top despite that. But then also part of me is like, how is this in the top 250? And clearly,
It's
some
Brazilian
people do
fans.
find artistic value in it. Like, it clearly has its audience. But the top 250 films of all time and stuff like, and no, I don't even like these films very much, but Forrest Gump isn't in there. Monsters Inc. isn't in there. The Matrix, I'm pretty sure, isn't in there. And if you ask a lot of people, like,
what about The Matrix 2?
Matrix, I think The Matrix 2 is like a really poor rating. Like, it's 2 point something, or I've only seen the first one.
The Matrix 2 is the best one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Subjective.
The Matrix 2 is the best one. It's not objective. The Matrix 2 is the best one. The Matrix 2 is the best one of the Matrix.
So yeah, I wonder if maybe they should change that. And I don't want to be that guy, because the guy who does it does a great job. And I think it is one guy who does it all. But
It's a real cinephile right there. Hats off to him.
But yeah, the fact the film like this is on there when so many great films aren't is disappointing. But
It changes.
The point of this podcast is for us, and hopefully the people watching along, to watch stuff they normally wouldn't watch.
It also brings variation, wouldn't you say, that for other people, like, because you know what, as you were saying before, it doesn't mean a lot to people in Brazil. And
Yeah, it seems that way. We don't know, like, on the ground, because it's a mad conservative country.
No, but from what we've seen, in the sense of like, Monsters Inc. is like a worldwide. Everyone knows Monsters Inc. It's a worldwide huge thing, and like, everyone knows Forrest Gump. That doesn't need any more hype. But this is, you know what I mean? Like, it's for somebody who would look at the list, because we're not the only people who look at this list, and I'm sure a lot of people work their way through it to prove that they are the best cinephile of all time, or some Ash Ketchum shit. But it is what it is. Simon, you didn't give a rating for the film.
Oh, let's do our final thoughts. Have you already, guys?
We already did the final thoughts. Sure.
Oh, I'll just say mine then. Final thoughts. I respect the ambitious endeavor, especially for its time. And given that he was a leftist, this film is clearly like leftist as AF. And it's art house as AF as well. Can I say the F word on here? What the hell?
Yeah, I've said it mad times.
Just bleep out, yeah. Anyway, and shout out to him for trying to, getting this through, because I think back then, every film during that time gets sent to the government or the dictatorship. So I don't know how he managed to get this out. It probably went to another country or something. I don't know. But yeah, I respect that. But it was emotionally moving, but not in the sense that, in that sense, sorry. And it was stylistic, a neorealistic film with energetic performances, with dialogue that I couldn't remember at all, apart from, some here and there. Him shouting out names saying in the car that he was dying. But I didn't feel like I learned anything. I didn't feel like this might be more on me, given that the time gap between this was released and yesterday. So I'm luckily going to this informed. But nonetheless, the abstract montages and the intellectualist symbolism was just what's the word? Pretentious, and not the type that I like to be. And so consequently, it wasn't as overall effective to me. So overall, my rating would be Go ahead.
I was going to just ask, because I know when you give your rating, it just ends. This is what I just want to ask. Do you think this film makes a good case for censorship?
Because if it was a right wing dictatorship, yeah. Because he, but then actually no, because in the film he was saying both sides are bad. Because if you guys remember, the guy with the white suit in the beginning, that
No,
he was
no, no,
sick
no,
of.
no, no. I mean censorship by the government. The government was right to be like, this film's ass.
This guy's
So
taking the
this
fuck.
is
I'm fucking dead serious as well,
no. Give me a score, Simon. I'm done with this
bro. This
topic.
is a. I'm giving this a 2. I'm giving this a 2.
Do you want me to go next, Sherry? Because I won't take up much time.
I mean, you know what? They know how I feel about it. I'll give it, 2 as well. 1, 2. Nothing. You get nothing from me. Fuck this film. Garbage.
Yeah, wouldn't recommend it unless you're from Brazil and interested in history.
In Brazilian history, yeah.
And I do mean it in a bad way and I don't mean it in a bad way, because honestly, if you're not from Brazil and you're not interested in history, Simon managed to get something out of it. I don't know how anyone else would. And I knew I wasn't going to like it within like 30 seconds, but I thought Sharek might have got something out of it, and the fact Sharek didn't means there's no hope for anybody, really.
Nah. I like everything.
And also, can I say, maybe the Letterboxd rating comes from anyone who searched out for this film clearly wanted to see it.
Yeah, because hardly anyone's watched it or logged it. Sorry.
It's not like it's going to be on film 4 for us, and it's like, oh, do you know what film I watched when I was young and it was quite good? That entranced stuff. Like, no one's having those conversations.
Yeah.
People who have seen this film went out for it and loved it. So, unless you're watching it for this podcast, and if you did, I apologize, and I don't want to put anything, don't want to put you through anything like that again. But 0.5.
We'll see, Kyle. We'll see.
There's gonna be a lot more, bro.
Let's add this to the ass pile.
Yeah, so
we have the recommendations. This is like
don't even bother.
Don't put on the list.
Yeah.
Because it needs. What was our ranking system? So like a taste of cherries on the recommendation list, isn't it?
Soul is number 1.
Soul is number 1 because we all agreed on that. Then it was North by Northwest.
Then Taste of Cherry.
And then Taste of Cherry.
La Belle Oiseau.
And then this is gonna be last, just by pure Let's see if you can find anything worse.
So next week we are watching Invisible Life. Hopefully we'll be joined by a guest for that. And then the episode after that I will advertise in advance because it's a long film, so you might need to make time in your schedule to watch it. We're going to be watching Heat, the Michael Mann film. And if all goes well, we're going to have a big special guest for that. People from the Letterboxd and YouTube film community will recognize the guest. So
his name's Robert De Niro, guys.
A real Luke Skywalker cameo, guys.
Yes, and it's not just going to be Paul Bettany talking to
someone we wanted to collab with for a long time.
Guys, it's Martin Scorsese. You caught all of my jokes from earlier,
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well. So let's move on to the segment where we just talk about what we've been watching this week.
Yeah.
It can't be worse than Entranced.
No.
I usually pass the floor over, but I'm going to go first because I watched a film that I did not expect to like and got a big kick out of it. So yeah, I watched Amy Poehler's second film. I thought it was her directorial debut, but she did Wine Country last year.
Yeah.
And it was a film called Moxie, and it was about a young girl who got sick of like the casual sexism in her school. And she's an introvert, but she decides to start a like revolution. And like it sounds weird on paper, but it's executed pretty well. Like I will admit the first 10 minutes aren't the best. It's like your casual like coming of age, but like a lot cheesier than your average coming of age film. And then like the dialogue's very on the nose. And like, do you know when you like a film's message, like immediately, like no one's gonna root against female empowerment unless they're like a sexist pig. But the dialogue at the start was just too on the nose, and it wasn't delivered the best. But once the film's like plot kicked in and the revolution, it sounds cringy, but once the revolution started, I was all in. Have
Nice.
you watched anything, Simon?
I watched The Mauritian. It's a Jodie Foster new film. Have you seen the trailer or poster?
She won a Golden Globe for it. I've not heard anything about it, but I just know she won Best Actress in a Drama.
I didn't even watch the Golden Globes, bro. Because
Yeah,
after, did you guys read the scandal that happened or that came out?
Yeah, with the Hollywood Foreign Press and Emily
Yeah,
in
like
Paris.
Emily in Paris was one where okay, fuck Carl, he didn't read it. Basically, but Emily in Paris, people were confused as how that got nominated. Turns out the Hollywood Foreign Press members got flued out, shout out to Signals, to Paris when they were filming it. Got all this nice hotel treatment, all this nice stuff,
Fancy dinners,
fancy dinners and stuff like
unlimited
that.
access to the stars. Hollywood
Yeah,
Foreign Press, I just
bro, it's just
associate.
bullshit.
I'm not gonna say anything that could hurt my chances at the Golden Globes. Actually, I learned my lesson. The Hollywood Foreign Press guys, if they want to nominate us for best podcast, we would love to fly you out to Birmingham, put you up in a twin
show
bed.
you the boring.
The
twin
Radissons,
bed.
we'll put you up in the
Twin-
Radissons.
No, twin bed Holiday Inn. It's the best. It's a holiday whenever you're at the Holiday Inn. So
Yeah, we have the most tree. We have more trees in Paris, more canals than Venice.
more canals than Venice.
That's the one fact I'll never let go.
If you want to go for a swim, local leisure centers all around.
For a cheeky Nando's.
You can go for cheeky Nando's.
We have a great road called what's that road again with CineLads on? No, CineLads, the one at CineLads on Broad Street. Come
Guys,
live every Friday night.
If you want to come here, we can take you to the place that you can only find in Birmingham. McDonald's on the ramp.
But yeah, Simon, back to the
So
film.
yeah, I gave the Mauritian a 3. It was about basically one of these the people who've been imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay without any charges against them. So technically they've been kidnapped and enslaved.
Tree my boys.
Free broski.
Tree my
Harold
broskies. Ooh,
Huh?
ooh. No. Harold and Kumar, the only people who escaped.
After being wrongfully accused and imprisoned. So they are political prisoners by definition. Basically,
if you guys think about it, they went to White Castle, escaped Guantanamo Bay.
that was garbage, bro.
Guys,
And my CM Punk joke was bad. Let's move on anyway.
the CM Punk joke show was ass.
Anyway.
I've ever heard.
It's
Yeah, would
great
you
film.
recommend it?
If you if you hate America, like the American establishment, yeah, it really will, pisses you off, and you're like, damn, this country is really messed up, So I gave it a 3 overall. Good film.
Well,
Not too bad, not too good.
Sherry, I want to ask you this question. I want to make sure to emphasize one part. Have you watched any films this week?
You know what, Kyle? I have.
Besides ones for this podcast?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I have.
what have you watched?
So I came prepared this week, guys. I watched not just one film, Kyle. Might have watched a cheeky 4.
What?
But, just to clarify. 2 of them were short films, as in like 5-minute experiments, so I won't count those. Amazing, but I won't count those. I saw Yorgos Lanthimos' newest short film, but it was the Yorgos. It was like a narrative Yorgos Lanthimos one called Nimic, and it's one of the weird. Speaking of avant-garde, I love Yorgos Lanthimos. That guy is one of the funniest director, writer, creatives ever. But he's so good at making things feel so uncomfortable at the same time. I don't know if you guys have seen Nimic. I don't know if you've heard anything about it. I don't want to spoil the main. Because it's only this is only 12 minutes. So if you sit and watch it, you could really you get immersed in such a crazy way, and it's so good, and it's so weird, and it's so funny, and I love that. So that's one. That was one of the things I watched, and one film I watched. I rewatched it. I've seen it before, but I rewatched it. In 2020, a film came out. Only one film could save cinema, and that film, my friends, was Tenet.
You watched that again?
I rewatched Tenet, and you know what?
With subtitles.
I watch everything with subtitles, but it's not to read. It's not to read, guys. You can't stop me from reading. But so I rewatched Tenet, and you know what, guys? I'm even more thoroughly convinced that film is a masterpiece. No one's gonna get it yet. In 5 years, right? That film is so good. Tenet is so, you know, I'm gonna take 5 minutes to speak about Tenet because I need to talk about this because I've been saving this in all week, right? Tenet is so brilliantly audacious, right? It's such an audacious film. And if you think about it too hard, yes, the rules of inversion do not make sense. Yes, they don't, but they do. Because if you think about it even harder than that, if you think past the confusion, it all works. It all makes sense. I don't know how, but it does. Like, and I think watching it a second time, you have a deeper appreciation for it because a lot of the stuff that made less sense the first watch through, you're like, why is this going on? This is going on, and everything. It all makes a lot more. Why am I? Who cares? You've seen Tenet, man. It's been over a year. So you know how John David Washington is the protagonist and he is the big boss of the entire organization. You realize now when you rewatch it, everybody's working for John David Washington, right? A lot of the things they're saying and telling him, he himself says at different points in the film. I kept clocking it like later on because you know, and they all do, there's like little nice. There's just so much intricacy and detail to this film that like. I can't like, for example, every time they're talking about Tenet and they meet someone who's in the organization of Tenet, right? Or he's talking to somebody who's involved with it, he'll do this, right? And that comes from the very first guy doing this. And John David Washington's character notices. So you'll notice when he meets a new character, right? If he thinks they're part of Tenet or whatever, he'll do it every time. He'll do this, and the other person will subtly do it back. Neil does it. Priya does it. The guy from the beginning never gets a name, but he does it. This film is so good. It's just fun. Like, he's such a good director. And like, you see the stuff happen, right? And as far as like just action, okay, even if you don't like the story, okay, you have to appreciate it on a technical level, right? This is insane. It's so good. Like, yo, the score's crazy. Oh, stop calling me. Right? This whole thing, what am I saying? That's my youngest brother. I love him so much. The whole film is insane. I love Tenet. And honestly, I just love it more.
Okay, out of 5, how much?
5. It was already a 5 before, but that was like...
You gave it 5 before, damn.
That was a 5 reversed.
So I feel like we should wrap it up with our 4 recommendations. Does anyone want...
No Durex.
Does anyone have one planned or?
Actually, no, I do. I do have one plan, if I may.
Go on.
I would like to recommend. It's not. No, I know normally I like to do like a themed sort of film and link it in to, you know, the stuff we talked about. I thought for this week, if you guys have watched Entranced Earth, you need something that's fun. You need something that doesn't suck, and you need something that's, you know what I mean. You need a refresher from that. You don't need a companion piece to garbage. You need something fun. And with that being said, I picked National Treasure, the 2004 Nicolas Cage film, which is just a romp. It's such a good film.
Classic. What a picture.
It's infinitely watchable. It's Nicolas Cage at, I was gonna say, the height of his powers, like that screen junkie.
Not yet, man. He's just peaked again, man.
You know,
in this past few years.
No, Nicolas Cage isn't. Yeah, it was at the height of his powers at all either, because it wasn't even like his 80s run. Nicolas Cage is just a phenomenal talent, and we don't give him credit for that. But in this film, he's playing like a not an Indiana Jones type. He takes the archetype of like the adventurer character and makes it completely his own. Yo, I am smart. Yo, look at these words. But he completely makes the character his own. Justin Barth is in it. There's this, you know, your typical white woman with blonde hair who was, you know, she was in a bunch of these films like in the 2000s. I think her name's Abigail or something. Not Abigail Breslin. That's a child in it.
Yeah, I'd say.
She's not a child. I think Abigail Breslin's older than me, but so, like, sorry. National Treasure is my recommendation. Great film, fun romp. John White's in it. It's a really good film. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but the main plot is sparked by. No, I can't say anything because it's gonna spoil it. It's one of those adventure films. It's a great adventure film, and and it's like an hour 30, and you're just gonna feel great afterwards. And if you really love it, you can watch National Treasure 2: Book of Secrets after.
Fun fact: did you know Temple Run the game was based on Nicolas Cage in that film?
No, that's a lie.
I'm 100% serious.
That's a lie.
Why would I lie to you, Carrick?
Because he never went to a temple in any of those films.
Damn it.
The closest he got was in the second film.
I think, underground thing.
And that wasn't a temple. They purposely said because one of the characters goes, "Is this a temple?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "No, temples were used by the Mayans. This is a library."
Uh,
Maybe if the game was called Library Run, you know.
Speaking of library, sorry, Kyle. There's a great show called The Librarians, which you guys should
I
watch.
watched those films that were
So
based
fun.
on it. The films were ridiculously fire. If you wanted something fun and easy and light, the show I didn't watch, but
Watch the shows.
I watched the films.
Yeah.
Between the Simon, we have enough knowledge of trivia. The librarians, we can win competitions.
Simon,
Yeah, what's yours?
pick or
Okay, mine. Yeah, mine is I'm gonna give you the best action film, not even just the last decade, but arguably of this century. I'm gonna go with John Wick,
Oh.
the first one.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal action. Like, it's got a simple story. You kill this guy's dog, and he just hunts you down, and it's just like when it came out, it had the most invigorating, most refreshing action sequences at the time, and it still hasn't been beaten. Probably the only film better than it is probably The Raid when it comes to action sequences. Probably that's it really. There's not really a lot of competition. Not even Fury Road, which everyone. If you ask everyone about Fury Road, the only thing they can remember is that scene in the desert getting chased. Ask them about anything else, they won't remember nothing.
That's the entire film.
Wait, am I the one? No, there's more scenes than that film. What the hell? That's the main.
80% of Fury Road is just driving.
It's just get chased, yeah.
It's an amazing film, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so it's on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
you haven't watched Fury Road?
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
Yo, well, bully him.
Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, when I saw the Fury Road trailers, I thought it looked awful. But then I have a friend who's not into films who said he loved it. So I assume,
Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon loves that film.
I assume I would like it, but I never got round to it. But with this list, hopefully I will.
So they're making a prequel.
Yeah.
Starring my
Anya
girl Anya
Taylor.
Taylor-Joy, who's so good. She's just so good at everything.
And some of the characters will apparently appear in Space Jam. So.
Whoa. Yo, imagine LeBron dribbling on the Fury Road. That'd be insane.
But what I was going to say, back to the John Wick thing, I like them enough. Like, I don't love them as much as people, but I get it. Now I have a dog, I get it. Like, now I have a dog, I appreciate the franchise more.
You know, I don't have a pet, but if someone came for my dogs,
lights out.
I don't know why I did this. Why does that stop kickback?
But my pick, I tried to link it with the film and its messages, so I went for 2008 Role Models. No, I didn't at all. I just wanted a palate cleanser after that rubbish. Yeah. But just like the chemistry between the cast. You got Sean William Scott, who's like, he plays the same role, but he's great in the same role. Paul Rudd,
my boy Goon. Sean William Scott, my boy Goon.
Or Stifler.
Christopher Mintz-Plant. What's his name?
Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Yeah, he's great in it. He plays McLovin basically, but even dorkier than McLovin. Like, he's into role playing, like in the park, like fantasy.
Oh, LARPing.
Yeah.
I think the place is called Lair. But me and my family were watching it, and we was like, "Why does that look so much fun? Like, it looks so fun to do."
Thunderbolt.
And just like some of the stupid gags, like there's a running joke about Kiss, the Jewish band.
They're not Jewish band, are they?
Yeah, because there's a whole monologue about it. It's like, I didn't know Jews could get girls back then. Like, they couldn't. That's why they had to dress like demons. It's like,
Jesus Christ.
It's
Oh,
so
God.
dumb, but so funny. And there's another stupid running joke with, what's her name from Glee, who's in the memes where it's like, I'm going to create an environment so toxic.
Oh, Jane Lynch.
She just keeps talking about how she used to have cocaine for breakfast and lunch. And like, she keeps accusing Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd of bullshitting when they're just saying facts. It's like, if you're going to BS someone, BS each other. And it's so dumb, but it's so funny.
Oh,
and
God.
I can't imagine anyone watching it and not having a good time. Unlike Entrenched Earth, where it's the opposite.
Entrenched Earth is no role model of mine.
So, does anyone have a group pick in mind, or
Yeah, I think we should go with Human Centipede.
Nah, no, thank you. I don't endorse that.
I have
Why not?
another film that's like a palate cleanser that we could go for,
What?
and it has a special value to us three. Blockers.
Oh,
Because-
yeah.
Ooh,
Does
speaking of
anyone want to tell?
blockers, I forgot to say earlier, I was watching the Broken Hearts Gallery. Shout out to Geraldine. Yeah, I haven't finished.
She's great.
Yeah, I
She's
wonder why you're saying that. Have you even watched any of her films other than Blockers?
I can't support Asian talent. Huh?
Sharek, do you want to tell the story of why I picked Blockers?
Carl, you picked Blockers because on the day you went to watch Blockers, you met me, right, for the first time because we hadn't met before. You knew who I was because of my infamy, my albums, Pure Fire and whatnot. And you knew who I was. We went to the same college, but we never met. You say you saw me, but that whole year was kind of a blur. It was not your fault. I was kind of, you know what I mean? I'd hang out with Simon or I'd hang out with this other sort of group of people and they never. But it was Tenant. But it was we never like crossed over. That was the first day I met you, and we saw it was Isle of Dogs first, and then Blockers,
And
it
then
was just a
Tag.
great.
What do we watch Tag with me and you, Jacob?
We didn't watch Tag. That was you three.
But when
Yeah,
we
I think.
watched Isle of Dogs and Blockers, we thought we watched them in the wrong order because we assumed that Isle of Dogs would be better.
Oh
I
my!
don't know if I'm in
With the right choice.
minority both.
Yeah, Block. I think it was a better choice to watch Blockers second because it was like we left on a high. Like I liked Isle of Dogs more than I think you two, but even then, I'm not gonna defend over Blockers. I prefer Blockers way more.
Yeah.
I rewatched it actually recently, a couple of months ago, and it still holds up. It's still so good. I think John Cena is fantastic in it, and you really watch it, and you're like, "Yo, this guy's an amazing comedic actor."
It's the best film, like the best role. He's
Yeah.
I would say Bumblebee only because he has that line where he has this because he's the most self-aware character I've ever seen in a Transformers film. He goes, "They're called Decepticons. They're not set off any alarm bells for anyone." He goes, "Not set off any alarm bells for anyone." He goes, "Decepticons." But it's this or that for him. He had a good year because that was the same year Bumblebee. So it showed John Cena. I love Leslie Mann. She's really great. She got a starry role here. That guy, is his name Ike
Barinholtz.
Ike Barinholtz. He's always been really good and stuff. It was nice to see him having like actual sort of emotional, like a story really.
He's the deadbeat dad, isn't he?
Yeah, and all the girls in it are great. And there's a lot going on. It was just a beautiful film. It wasn't like one of those. I loved it. It was a good year for like comedies that year. Booksmart was 2019. It was that Game Night, Tag, 3 great films.
See,
Yeah.
what I liked as well is, you know how people are like, "Oh, you couldn't make American Pie these days with like this."
You can.
Exactly.
American Pie. Oh, I thought you said pie. Sorry.
I would say Blockers is better than American Pie.
Oh, easily. American Pie's terrible.
Nah. Rewatch it, bro.
No, I mean this like no American Pie's ass. Sorry, why am I trying to pretend? I like parts of it. I think it's fun. I just don't think it's like as good as you remember it to be.
But I think with Blockers as well, like it had a good message, and I saw it described well. It's like a good family film that families shouldn't watch together. Like everyone should watch it, and like parents and kids, but they shouldn't watch it in the same room because it can be risque. But yeah, I think it's a very good film with a good message, like role models.
You know what's so good as well? Every performance in that film, I just remembered it. I just thought of a scene and just started laughing. Every performance in that scene is great, down to who they cast as the boyfriend, the boyfriend's parents. You know that scene I'm talking about, with the Jurassic Park homage. When they go into the house and they're like, "I'm gonna get you." A1 film. A good dick joke always goes a long way.
And a good fart joke when John Cena's got the drink of his.
Oh, butt chug! The butt chuggy! This is the funniest thing was the kids were just pouring out just next to it, and he was like, "Ah!"
And then the police show up, and he just squirts it into someone.
Oh.
It was Ike Barinholtz's face.
Yeah.
He was like, "You did it! You did it!"
But yeah, Simon, do you have anything to add, or?
Nah, you guys say it perfectly. It was a good time, man. What a good time.
Just like Betty Safdie said, "Good time." Also, Josh Safdie. Sorry, Josh.
But yeah, so we hope you watched Entranced Earth, and then we'll watch these films to forget about Entranced
I
Earth.
personally hope you don't watch Entranced Earth. And I hope someone who's thinking about watching it, they came to this podcast and they heard my impassioned plea to not watch it. I beg you.
But we've got 2 films lined up that seem like they're going to be fun watches. So
It seems like one of them seems like it's going to be quite the heater.
and with that, I think that's the perfect time to sign off.
I guess it's time for me to go back to my invisible life.
All misses, no hits.
Definitely the time to sign off. I've been Kyle.
It's your boy Big She's, aka Ricky Ricardo, the way I keep hitting him out.
And he's been. And we've been the CineLads. We hope you enjoyed.